Hey guys, welcome to this new video. We're back at climbing gym. Today we're gonna set a lead route. We're gonna set in the big overhang. And we're supposed to set something between 7A plus and 7B plus. So we're aiming for 7B. We're gonna set with these green holds. We have a bunch of different types of holds. We have some big slopers, small crimps, really tiny footholds. So I think we can set something pretty technical.
Okay, so before you set a route, do you make a plan or how do you work?
Well, usually I don't really plan out all the moves beforehand. I just make a selection of holds. Just feel a little bit what we have, and then most of the times I get my inspiration from the holds itself.
So as a route setter, what is the most important thing to think about when you set a route?
You want to make a route that's fair for everybody. So you want a route that is doable for really short people, and you want a route that looks really nice, so people really want to jump on and try the route. So that's something to take into account. The aesthetic aspect must look really nice.
Okay, and what about your own preference for style?
Well, I think as a setter you need to be something of an all-round climber. So you should be able to set all styles of routes. But my personal climbing style is more like the small crimps, technical moves, small footholds. But I also enjoy setting like the really burly moves, like the competition style, coordination, dynos and stuff. The wall we're setting at is pretty steep. I selected some holes. I have some inspiration for the steep part, so we're going to start right there. So, I think I got all the holds. Let's get up there. Are you coming with me?
Sure.
I just started the first few moves in the overhanging part. I was thinking of maybe making a cross move to this big pinch, which is actually quite bad on the volume. And then there's an intermediate, and I want to bump up again with the left. And after that I want to go to another volume. I think to like a big sloper to match. Just gonna see if it fits. So, moment of truth. I only brought one sloper, so I really hope it fits in the volume. That's perfect.
Perfectly.
Nice. Okay, so the nice thing about the big volumes and the big holds on them is you also have really nice footholds lower down. So if you go here, we can match it with the big pinch as a big foot. And match it. Maybe a bit of heel hook in or something. And go again with right. It's quite nice.
Looks cool.
Alright, so this is the steepest part of the route. So you don't want the moves to be too complex or too hard, because then you got a really cruxy sequence. So because the wall is so steep, I try to make the moves a little bit more straightforward.
Okay.
And the holes also are a little bit better than in the rest of the route, obviously. I just need, I think, 2 more moves to get out of the overhanging part. We're gonna match sloper, like I said. Go like, I think this one here, which is pretty okay. After that I want to go like an undercling on the volume, maybe with a thumb catch here. Then make a big cross to the end of the overhang part. So I always like to put some chalk on the holes first, because no one really likes to climb on holes that are really clean. It sounds really weird, but if the holes are really clean, then they'll always feel a little bit slippy. Especially when the holes are just cleaned with the pressure washer. They're still a bit moist. So lots of chalk is always good. Alright, just to be sure, I'm gonna add 1 foothold for the short people. I think the most important part in route setting is to try and make a fair route for everybody. I'm pretty tall, so it's sometimes hard to imagine how the move feels if you're a bit shorter. So if I have my doubts, I just add a foothold just to be safe. So, last hold in the overhanging part. Looks like a really big jug, but it's actually pretty flat. So it's pretty hard to hold on to on the steep part. So this is the last hold in the steep part. We're gonna match this one and go to the right. We want to go to this big one, which is pretty slopey. But because your feet are pretty okay, I think you can hold this. So we're gonna match this one, which is pretty hard. Maybe go to the right after. Alright, so the plan is to make sort of a dead point to a really small crimp. Then because you have 2 really big footholds, you can cross under to another really small crimp. Oh, that's tiny. So I'm gonna make one final really long move off this tiny crimp, really high foothold, and then all the way to the top, which is quite hard because if you're bumped, then this hold is pretty bad. So, top part's finished. Only the first part, then we're done. So I guess this is the most important part in route setting, is to get a coffee break once in a while and stare meaningful at your route, get some inspiration, then maybe another cup of coffee. We're nearly done. Just a few more holds to get to the second quick draw, then we're finished. finished.
All done. So what's the plan?
Yeah, we're gonna test the route, see if it's okay.
What are some points you consider when testing the route?
Well, for starters, you want to know if the grade is like you want it to be. So we're gonna test and see how hard it feels. We also want a fairly consistent route. So you don't want a really easy start and a hard finish, or a really big jog where you can rest. We also want a fair route, so I'm gonna check if there's no reachy moves or moves that are way harder if you fall. And of course I want to know if the route is fun to climb. Okay, that was pretty okay. I like the route. I think all the moves worked pretty well. There was this one section above the steep part which was a little bit too hard. So I think I'm going to tweak that a little bit easier. Especially the two crimps which you have to cross. They were a little bit too small, I think. So I'm going to make those a little bit easier. Maybe add an intermediate or something. And then maybe you can give it a go, that section.
Yeah, sure.
Just try it out if it's okay for 7B. I think the rest of the route is pretty good. So as you can see, I made this first cross move a little bit easier. I also added a small intermediate hold to make the move to the left a little bit easier as well. But the main thing I tweaked is these two crimps. They were just too small and too hard, so now they're a lot better. But the move is still pretty hard. So I think it's more appropriate for 7B. Alright guys, that was it for today's video. I hope you liked it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. I'm gonna enjoy my cup of coffee. I'll see you in the next one.